Hey everybody, welcome to Read More. This week we're talking book clubs. I have some very special guests joining me. I have Stacy from the Carmel Mountain Ranch Library, uh, Rachel from the Mission Valley, or excuse me, Malcolm X Library, and Pam Stevens from the University Community Library. I'll let you guys talk about yourselves. So we're talking book clubs today, and I think we're going to be all over the place, kind of landing from what can people expect when they join a book club? What should you look for in a book club? What can San Diego Public Library offer as far as book clubs right now? And if you're kind of a self-starter or there's not something that you can find out there for yourself, how do you go about starting a book club, whether you were asking for the library support or you were just going to kind of do it on your own? So I think we're going to try to touch on all these things today. But first of all, I always like to ask everyone this when they come on board. What are you reading now? So I'll start. First, I wanted to show off my shirt that I got this at the library shop.
Oh, that's great.
So I think it's probably backwards in the video, but you can hold it up to your mirror, folks, and see there. So right now I'm reading Allie Smith's Winter. For those who don't know, Allie Smith does this series where she had autumn, she did winter, she did spring, and then coming out like next week is summer. So really excited for that. If you haven't read them, they're great. It's like this discursive, meandering stream of consciousness kind of prose, and I love it. So Stacy, how about we hear from you?
Hi there. Thank you, Trevor. My name is Stacy Richards, and I'm the Library Assistant 3 at Carmel Mountain Ranch. And we have a book club here that meets monthly. During COVID times, we've transferred to meeting on Zoom, and we're meeting now twice a month. And the members that come, it seems to be not only talking about books, but it's almost like a community support. A lot of the seniors that are in my group don't get out. They don't get to see anyone, maybe outside the world. So they've kind of used this format to see their friends. So it's been a lot of fun. We're actually reading, I'm kind of excited about it. It's called Sea Wife by Amity Gage. I don't have a copy of it. But we're pretty excited about it because it's the niece of one of my members, and we're going to do a big library program September 17th. It's going to be a big Zoom meeting with the author. And then I also do the Facebook book club, and we are reading Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, and I'm reading it out loud. So I'm posting that Thursday, Friday at 10 a.m. on Facebook. So I'm actually nearing the end, thinking about my next book. That has been growing. We have about 93 members. So I'm looking to expand that. And that's a lot of fun. I film it right here in the bookstore. And I love books. I could talk about books all day. So.
Well, just a quick question. So you're doing online clubs during COVID, which people can probably expect for a bit while longer, it sounds like. I mean, is there anything people should know about joining an online book club? Or, I mean, maybe what are some of the pluses and minuses, you think, with that?
I would say the most challenging part about my traditional club that I have here is getting the members to be comfortable and safe with the technology and Zoom. A lot of the seniors have heard some things in the media that are kind of negative, and so I actually haven't seen some of them. They keep saying they're going to wait until we reopen. So I think getting the public sort of comfortable and feel like it's safe to meet that way, that would be one thing.
You hear that, Zoom? You hear us?
And let's see, the ones that have come, they seem to really like it, almost as a emotional support. So I'm trying to keep it really easy. I keep the readings optional because I just want them to be able to show up, see their friends, feel like we care about them because we miss them. I keep telling them, we miss you. We can't wait to have you back. We care about you. We're here. And
Great.
so the ones that are showing up, they love it. Even if we're not specifically talking about a book, they love just seeing me, and I give them a little library update about book drops and anything library related.
No, it's really interesting what you say about emotional connection. Maybe we can touch on that later. For now, let's pivot to Rachel. Now, Rachel, you have quite a bit of experience with in-person clubs, and I think you kind of said in an email you had some anecdotes to share about situations and having fun with people. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Hey everyone, my name is Rachel Esguerra. I'm the Adult Services and Outreach Librarian with the Valencia Park Malcolm X Library. But prior to coming here, I was also the Adult Services Librarian at Mission Valley, and part of my duties was being in charge of the book club, which was a part of the library since when was Mission Valley open? Like 2002. And there were members that have been with the club since the very beginning, and they were a very tight-knit group. And sometimes the meetings would be huge. I mean, we'd always at minimum have at least, 10 to 12 people, but sometimes they would go even over, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but sometimes it'd even go past capacity. Like there'd be almost 30 people in the room. We'd have to just pull chairs. So certainly challenges would be wanting to make sure we have enough time for everyone to get a chance to say what they want to say, but also being mindful of, keeping time, and also just making sure we have enough copies. You don't necessarily, not everyone has access or the ability to just buy a book every month, so you also want to make sure the books that you choose are, there's enough copies that we can get in time as well, because you want to give, of course, time for the books. But part of what I did was, it's really important to kind of set the tone right at the beginning, especially with a large group. Like that's a big thing. So you just kind of want to say like, hey, like we want to make sure everyone has a turn. These are expectations, housekeeping rules, things like that. That way you could kind of like set the tone right away and keep it moving. But right now, I am still involved with the Comic-Con International Graphic Novel Book Club. So I've been reading a lot of graphic novels lately, which this is part of being in a book club too, is just really keep an open mind. My brother was totally into comics and stuff. I never thought I'd be a graphic novel reader, but I've been involved with this club now for about 3 years.
Oh, wow.
The group, yeah. And so currently what I'm reading, this is a series, so it's called, you caught me, I'm on a Zoom background. It's called Wit Cat Atelier. So this is the 5th book, but we're currently on the 3rd. It's wonderful. It's kind of like a manga, and I've never read that before. So you're literally reading like backwards, but it's a wonderful story, won an Will Eisner Award, which is like equivalent to the comics and graphic novel Oscars.
Oh, that's great. What you mentioned about as far as working for the library and trying to get people copies, like no joke, logistically, that is just the most difficult thing. That a lot of times actually the logistics determine what the book is in clubs.
Yeah, and you also want to keep that in mind when, of course, like the what's that one that everyone wants to read, where the crawdads sing or something, those brand new books, you really got to put them at the end of the list. You can't try to get it when it comes out, because unless you want to go out and get your own copy, because it's impossible. Like those lists, people can start placing holds as soon as it's ordered, from the library. So you got to be mindful of that as well. That was a big.
That does remind me, sometimes the library does purchase sets for book clubs that folks can actually place on hold. Usually it's the one book selection. But I think other times there's like bags. I'll post a link when I find it for that. For folks who don't know, you can actually get like a set of books for your club. Again, it kind of determines what you're going to read, because they buy the sets first and hope that people read them. Have you had much difficulty with members like trying to pick books, but then the library didn't have copies or anything like that, or?
Yeah, so what we did in the Mission Valley Club is we pretty much have the whole year picked out. So when right before I left, we were getting ready to pick, I guess it would have been like for the 2019 year, is for me as the facilitator, I try to make it as easy and accessible as possible. So basically we put out, very similar to One Book, One San Diego, put out a call for nominations basically to the whole group. So send me, email me. And I actually compiled, like when we hit, I don't know, like 20, just in case, you know, we need backups or something. And then I actually created a Google Doc where so we could vote yes, no, nah, maybe. And then basically the top, actually it was like the top 10, because every year we always read, one of the months we read the prior year One Book, One San Diego selection. And then every December we read like a holiday based type of book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically the top ones. So that way you give everyone an opportunity to participate. It's not like there's just these, one or two people picking everything. And then that also gave me, again, as the facilitator, a chance to go in our catalog and make sure we have enough copies to go around. And there has been times when, say, we only had 8 or less, and I let them know, like, I'm sorry, we don't have enough of this, but yet we had so many other nominations that there was always going to be something we could choose. So, and there's just so many books out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, before we kind of pass the torch to Pam here so she can talk about her club, one last question for you, just because it kind of came to my mind. Have you ever, in your kind of leading book clubs, picked a book where people just had to go get it and buy it? Have you ever done that? Usually the library won't do that, but I know that in places it does happen.
Not in my experience with the Mission Valley Club. With the Comic-Con book club, yes, especially during quarantine. There are some great services. It's there's Link Plus, which I've used through the county libraries or Circuit, these systems where we can actually get books outside. But when lockdown happened, I had to buy a lot through Kindle, get an ebook copy. But generally with the library, from my experience with the Mission Valley Book Club, it was what we had in the.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I have more thoughts on that, but let's hear from Pam Stevens, the UC Library. Now, Pam, you have been doing a book club in person and during COVID, like online, but it does have a very niche. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your club? I find it intriguing.
Sure. I'd be glad to, Trevor. I work half-time at the University Community Branch, but I live in Mira Mesa, and for many years, I've been the volunteer facilitator of the Mira Mesa Banned Book Club. It is a freedom to read themed book club. It started years ago as an outgrowth of a one-time event during the American Library Association's Banned Books Week, when we just read passages from books that were on the banned books list. And somebody said, hey, this would be a great idea for a regular book group. And being the volunteer that I am, I volunteered to facilitate it. We have been going strong almost 17 years now. It's been a long time. And over the years, yes, so we have a thing list. I look up the exact date, but I believe Banned Books Week 2003. I believe the first book we discussed was The Handmaid's Tale, which was an awesome book. We, over the years, have expanded. We don't just choose books that have been banned. We do books in September next week and weeks for the next year's season. Last Tuesday of the month, and we are welcome to enter anybody who wants regular or a particular title. And we like to alternate genres. We always lately have gotten into choose poetry or a biography of a poet in April Poetry Month. Probably one book, one San Diego book is one of the books. I was interested in hearing Rachel mention schemes because we've done various voting schemes, and I'm sure we'll be that. We switched to Zoom the end of March because we wanted to keep up the book group, and we have. In fact, one of the frustrations for us in May was that we chose a book in advance that we knew there were lots of copies in the library system, but they weren't available to people then. But we let people know that because we knew that for that one, it was the autobiography of Tom Hom, first Asian American San Diego City Council member in the 1960s. And we told people that they could get the book later on if they just wanted to come and find out more about it from those of us who had read it. A lot of members in that group do like reading books on Kindle anyway, so we have a fair amount of people that transitioned to the Zoom meetings fairly readily. It was a lot of fun. In fact, what was really fun was the Tom Hom autobiography. He and his wife and their adult children and grandchildren came to the meeting too. If you're thinking about inviting an author to a book group, the Zoom technology makes it even easier than ever. It's great.